Hello valued viewers, I hope you're all doing wonderfully well. Today we're having a look at the excellent Olympus add-on for DCS. Sorry it's taken me several weeks to get round to this, but we're finally getting it done. We're going to look at four things today. First, what is Olympus and what can it be used for? Second, download, installation, technical bits like that. Third, a bit of an operational guide in Olympus, and fourth, we're going to try and have our first battle. So first, what's it used for? DCS, as you know, is really a cockpit simulator. It's designed to be played or simulated from the cockpit of an aircraft. But what about those that want to control it from a top-down battle commander type situation, or even turn it into a RTS type simulation? We have some basic controls in vanilla DCS to control assets from this type of map, but it's very basic, very limited, and tends not to work that well. I'm sure you'll know what I mean if you're into DCS. So Olympus fills that gap. It gives us excellent top-down control. As well as control, it gives us functions to real-time add and remove units that we've never had before in DCS, and that means that we can do Zeusing. Zeusing, a kind of gaming colloquial term, means that we can fully control a battlefield from this god-type view while other players are in their cockpits flying their aircraft. We can finally fully control the battles truly dynamically. As well as Zeusing in dynamic battles, we really have the functionality to do proper RTS battles purely in this top-down type view with a coalition over here, a coalition over here, adding, deleting, and controlling units from a god-type view. If that doesn't sound very interesting, trust me, it is. It's really good. And I've got to say at this point, Olympus so far seems to be possibly the best piece of add-on software I've ever seen. I haven't yet managed to bug it. That's my description of what it can be used for, and of course there's lots more uses of it. But let's start at the basics. How do you download it and install it? I would suggest starting here in the Olympus Discord. I will, of course, put all links in the video description. This is a social media site for the app. Go to Olympus Releases here once you're in, and download, and obviously download the application. Really importantly, you'll need a guide as well. Really good guide here, which I'll also link in the video description. In terms of installation, it's pretty simple if you're just going to use it locally, which I guess most of you are, but that wiki link that I just pointed to is this here, and it has really easy installation steps for single player and dedicated server installation. We followed both and both worked fine. Just to show you that firsthand for the super noobs, if I went to my downloads area and clicked on the zip that downloads and go into that folder there, and then if I go to installer and then I go into installer again, I would click on that file there and that will start an automated installation. Obviously just follow those instructions and then you've got it installed. So let's run it. The first thing we need is DCS running in the background in single player or on a dedicated server. It needs to have a mission loaded up and that mission must be unpaused. So our dedicated server is actually CH's server technically. I have a mission loaded and I can assure you it's running. I'm not going to show you, but just take my word for it. At my end here, 500 miles away, I'm going to open a browser, and this applies locally or a dedicated server. I'm going to type the IP that the server is in. It's an IPv4. If it's local, then it will just be your own IP, and then semicolon 3000. And then press enter. I don't really want to show the IP of the server off, so I will just do it hidden. And through your browser, it will log on to Olympus. And this is the first thing to say. We will actually run Olympus through a web browser, which is super smart. Let that load. I'm uploading a video as we speak on my terrible, terrible internet, so it will go a little slow. So we need to type in our name, and this is just a temporary name. And you'll need the Olympus password as set up on the dedicated server in this case, which I'll just copy and paste in. Pip. And connecting. And there we go. We are connected to a server. And it's got the green light down the bottom right, so it's connected to a server, and that server is unpaused and running. This is the basic GUI, but to make it make more sense, I'm now going to start DCS as well, and we can obviously run DCS and the Olympus GUI at the same time. And I want the Olympus GUI to always be on top so I can always see it. So with Windows Power Toys installed, I'm going to left control, left win T, ping, always on top. In DCS, I'm going to go to, I don't want it on top now. I'm going to go to multiplayer. I'm going to connect to the server through the IP and put the server's DCS password in. So with the Olympus password, that's the Olympus password. With the DCS, that's the DCS server password. Two different things. Note, in a multiplayer situation like this, I don't actually have to have DCS running. I could just do it exclusively from Olympus, but obviously I want to see the bangs and explosions and the 3D stuff, so I'm going to do both. So where am I going? I'm going to go back to spectators. Let me just get rid of that for a second. Briefing. All right, we'll just spectate from here. Right, so we're now in a position where we are running from my PC through a dedicated server in Sweden, the multiplayer version of DCS here, and the multiplayer version of Olympus client here, both showing the same things. So let's keep the window big for now. We can reshape it as we see fit, and this begs the question how I'm going to make Olympus style videos. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. This is very much a first try. So next, let's do a rough guide of the functions in Olympus at the moment in the early version. I'm by no means an expert. I haven't even read the user manual yet. I've literally just turned it on a couple of hours ago. I'll show you what I figured out so far. Obviously, things will change further down the line. So let's start at the top left. Click that icon there. We can go to the Discord, as we've shown. We can go to the development GitHub there. We can go to the user guide, which I've already shown. Database manager is an interesting one. All of the assets are controlled through a database manager where it's populated from standard, so you don't have to go in and change anything if you don't want, but if you wanted to, I could go to that plane there. Things of interest so far, I've noticed cost. If you're going to do some RTS stuff, cost is very useful. Coalition is useful. Also, we have the ability to add in third-party mods like F-22 Raptors and stuff, so it doesn't just have to be core game. I haven't got to that part myself yet. Next is the map. You can see we've got the map here, and it's the whole world, which is amazing. So you can see at the top right, the mini-map. That shows the extent of the particular DCS map that's running. Of course, DCS doesn't do the whole world. It runs separate maps. But I, in this GUI, can look at the whole map. In fact, where's me? There I am. Hello. What source do you want for the map? Obviously, there are various free sources for the map, and you can change that here. Why would you want to change certain ones? Well, different sources have different amounts of detail in different parts of the world. So if you wanted to fight in Russia, then a Russian one would be better, and so on. Next. Options. You've got some basic visibilities here. What do you want hidden? What do you want shown? That's how it's defaulted, and just for interest I might turn on contact lines as well. Next, more filters. So we can filter on and off human players, and there aren't any at the moment. Next, we have filters for Olympus controlled assets and DCS controlled assets. So some units are controlled via Olympus and some are controlled via DCS. We know if they're controlled via DCS because they have a little robot head. Sorry about the resolution. This isn't going to be a video for cell phones, obviously, because I can't change the resolution. But look at these guys here. You see, they've got little robot heads. That means they're controlled by DCS at the moment. Why is that? Well, that's because they were set up in the original mission via the mission editor. That's considered controlled by DCS. As standard, you cannot then control those units via Olympus. Reason being, if they were set up in the mission editor originally, they were probably set up with certain orders that are relevant to the mission. So it's locked away, so Olympus people can't go and ruin it, basically. But of course we can take control if we want. We can unlock that little lock there. That unlocks globally all DCS controlled units, and we can now go control them, which I will go and do in a minute. Obvious filters, aircraft or planes, helicopters, surface to air, ground vehicles, ships, and what's that? We have air bases, hide that. Hide coalitions, and so on. Next, this option, we have settings. So if we wanted to turn it into a real-time strategy situation, in fact, this is quite a big point, so we'll dwell on it for a bit. One of the two main uses of Olympus, in my view, is to turn it into a real-time strategy type situation, where you could have blue guy coalition up here, red coalition down there. each of those coalitions could have multiple controllers in Olympus. So it's not just me that could be in here. I could have 20 other guys controlling via Olympus, plus a bunch of DCS piloted aircraft at the same time. They could all be mixed in together. Well, if we're going to do that type of RTS where you can start spawning in units and controlling units, you're going to need some restrictions to make a game of it. Otherwise, it will just turn into chaos. We plan to do all this stuff. I just don't know really how to do it yet. We could restrict spawns here, so we can stop new units being added. We can restrict units to coalitions, so we can control the type of units that certain coalitions can have. So Russia could only have Russian units, and America could only have American units, and I think that can be configured in the database. Setup time, I think, is the amount of time that until these rules apply, but I stand to be corrected there. Available eras, what if we only want to be World War II or early Cold War and whatnot? And again, I think that can be controlled from the database. What if you want a certain amount of currency to the amount of aircraft that you can use and add into the game on your RTS game? Well, here, 10,000 credits or dollars or whatever. And again, in the database, you can set each aircraft up with the amount of dollars that they cost. So that's pretty cool, right? You can apply. And I haven't tried this out yet. Next, I think we'll look at a bit more of the GUI here. So, minimap at the top right, server log here, and I haven't done anything yet. Tooltips, which I suggest, unless you're a master, you keep on, because I rely on that. The cursor position, if I zoom in here, if you see around here, the cursor position in relation to blue bullseye and red bullseye, and that's super useful, obviously, because an Olympus guy may be a Zeus-type GCI controller, telling people where to go in their relation to bullseye. Below that, in white, the position of cursor, lat, long, and elevation in feet. The status of the server down the bottom. Icons, we can see threat range rings, we can see radar range rings, which we can turn off, obviously, up in options. Aircraft, you can see here. You can see this is a KC-135. It's a robot, so it's controlled by DCS, although it is overridden at the moment, so I can control it. Again, sorry about the resolution, but you can see his unit name is Aerial 10-1. His flight level is 20,000 feet. His ground speed is 450 knots, and his vector is there. If I hover over him, in fact, I'll just select him real quick, just ignore that stuff for now. There's a bar underneath him. That, I think, is his fuel load, and the 4 dots below him, I'm pretty sure, are the quantity of types of weapon systems he has. The dots are empty, so he doesn't have any weapon systems. We can see down here we have a bullseye there, we have an airbase sign there. If I want to click on the airbase menu, right click, and you can see some information's there, and we can spawn in units if we want. We'll come back to that. You can start to see the scope of this excellent piece of software at this point. There is loads to it. Ground units here of different types. You've got radars, you've got surface to air, you've got vehicles, and they have their various attributes as well. We'll come back to that. Next, let's have a look at some basic controls. Look at the tooltips on the right. So if I want to move the map about, left click and drag. If I want to select a whole box of units rather than just one unit, then I press and hold shift and then left mouse push and hold, and I can select a whole box of units and do stuff with that formation of units. I can right mouse click and create a spawn menu to create a spawn, which we'll come to later. And there's a pin tool with control. I think you do that by left control, left click like that. And then you can draw out from pin to there is 250 degrees for 9 nautical miles. Let's look at the control of some of these units. So although they are locked, I've unlocked them obviously here. In fact, it's probably time to set this up a little more usefully. So I'm going to minimize this window here. Sorry that it's going to become a little bit less visible, but that's probably how I'm going to use it, something like that. So to select a unit, I left click on it, and I get these options here. Or if I don't, then I can make those options appear. Let me see if I can show you that a little bit better. Yeah, if it's really small like that, then you click it like that, and then you hover over it like that. In fact, let's do it like that. All right, so select the guy. I'm going to go to his control there. I can do stuff with him. That's his credentials there. I can change his speed between ground speed and calibrated airspeed, and I can move it up. So 300 knots calibrated airspeed. Let's move it up to 350. Now over to DCS, and voila, you should see his speed increasing. Although I must admit, he's probably at his maximum speed, so that was a terrible way of doing it. So let me try changing his altitude instead. That's going to be a bit more obvious. So his altitude is 26,000 feet. Let's drag that down. And let's go and watch him in DCS. And his altitude is decreasing. You can see his credentials at the bottom left of the screen. So you can see the real-time control that Olympus is having on DCS. It magically hooks into a version of DCS that's running. Right, let's do something a bit more interesting with him. Reselect. I'm going to change his reaction to threat. Do you want him to have no reaction at all and just get hit by missiles? Or maneuver but no active countermeasures? Or active countermeasures but no maneuver? Or maneuver and countermeasures? His radar, and these are global to all aircraft. His radar and ECM use, silent, both off. Attack, so radar only if targeting and ECM only if locked. Or defend, radar for searching, ECM if locked. Or always on, both always on. Early warning here, and I'm not quite sure what that does, but it does a thing. Oh, look at that, I get settings. Okay, oh, that's interesting. Wow, this thing really is never ending. Okay, anyway, let's leave that off for now. Next, I want to move him. Where's he gone? There he is, I've got him selected. So as standard, they go into an idle situation where they just go round in a circle in an orbit at the selected speed and height. Next, if I want to create a waypoint, I want to create a waypoint here. It is right-click and ping with him selected, and you should see in DCS him turning, off he goes to that steer point. If I want to create more steer points, then I hold left control and put another right click in. Ping, 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 ping. Okay, so a whole chain of steer points. He'll get to that last one and he'll orbit until further notice, or he runs out of fuel. Next, I might want to make a hot group out of him. It might be one that I want to select a lot. So hover the mouse over him, press and hold left control, and press a number on the top of my keyboard. Let's make him 3. Ping. You can see a little 3 is added above him. Now if I deselect him and I press 3 on the keyboard, pip, I can select him easily like that. Next, if I want to make him interact with the ground, so with him selected, I'll push and hold right click there, and he can do a thing with the ground. In this case, precision bombing or carpet bombing, which is obviously pointless because he's an AWACS and he can't do it, but that's something that we could maybe look at in a minute. What if we want to make him interact with another active unit? This one always gets me, but let's select him here. Hover the mouse over another unit here. Press and hold Control. Right click. Ping. I can attack him. I can follow him. I can refuel on him. Or I can center the map on him and have it follow him. I want to follow unit. Follow unit in whatever. Trail. Right, and there he's going to turn around, and this AWACS is now going to follow that unit. So you can start to piece together how you can get cool little situations here with AI aircraft being controlled like this. Right, maybe time to start spawning in some units then. Why don't we start with an F-15 baddie. Right-click over here. I want to make it blue or red. I want to be a plane, a helicopter, a SAM or surface-to-air, a ground vehicle, a ship, a smoke, a explosion, or a polygon draw mode. Wow, didn't even know you could do that. Well, I want to be a plane. Let's keep it super simple. Red plane. Roll. I want to have him combat air patrol, so go and shoot baddies down. Type. I want to be an F-15. Oof. How many do we want? Up to 4 in a flight, obviously. Let's have a flight of 2. With that preset loadout, ping. Okay, I want to start him at 32,000 feet. We can see his exact armament there. Factions and liveries. I'm going to leave that. Unit information, he can boom, air-to-air refuel, he's a twin-engine, swept wing, 2 crew, blah, 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 blah. That's it. Do it. Push. Right, he'll start a standard with preset parameters in an idle situation, so going round in a circle. I can manipulate them either by dragging a box over them with shift, as we saw, or select the lead unit, and that will get both of them there. Note that he now has 3 dots that are coloured and 1 dot that is not coloured. I'm pretty sure that means that he has 3 weapon systems available, or 3 types of weapons. We can confirm that by going to I here, and we can see he has a cannon, an AIM-9, and an AIM-120B, and he's currently idle. Right, at this point you ask, why is he not attacking those blue stuff? Surely he should do that as standard. Well, it depends how he's set up. So go to his controller here. All the usual stuff that we saw, plus rules of engagement. We can have him never fire at anyone. Return fire. Only attack if he's asked to attack something, which is what he is, and I've not asked him to attack anything. And just fire at will, just attack whatever the hell he wants. Reaction and radar are the same. Have a look at settings. Okay, some stuff you can do. Prohibit, jettison, a fuel tank, prohibit afterburner. Note a yellow lines appear. That's a contact line. I'm still to fully understand what that is, so let me know because I'm a little bit confused about that. I will turn that off for now. Right, let's make him go and shoot down some goodies, shall we? So, F15. This is a bit I always get wrong. Hover over that guy there. Push and hold control. Interact, right mouse button, attack. Note you could even follow. So you could get this guy to follow a guy of another coalition in formation to see him out of a combat area, but not attack. Right, attack. Boof. And off he goes. He's going to go and attack. And let's watch it happen in real time here. So this is presumably how we're going to make videos from it, viewers. You'll have your lovely 3D graphics here, although slightly obscured. And you'll have your DCS, sorry, your Olympus up in the corner. Let me know if you think there's a better way of doing that. Why don't we create a ground unit while they're busy battling it out? Go down here. It's much the same stuff with a few bits changed. So right, obviously we can control existing units, but right click, blue, ground unit, I don't know, an artillery unit, a paladin, one of them, blah, 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 same as before, deploy unit, pip. Let's go and check if that unit's appeared, and there it is. Let's make it move. So left click on it. You can see its fuel menu down the bottom. I want to right click. And I want it to move at 15 knots. Let's check if that's worked. Yes, it has. Wunderbar. Let's make him stop. So in there and all stop. Pip. Let's make him attack some ground. So you selected. Move over. What do you want to shoot, viewers? Stadium. No one likes stadiums. Sport. Right click. Other stuff you can do. You can simulate firefights. That's interesting. So you can sort of have them firing at baddies, but not actually shooting them. So it looks cool, but doesn't do any damage. I'm sure there's all sorts of uses for that. Fire at area. Pip. And it's going to see if it's going to do a thing. There he goes. He's going to start shooting at that area. And so on. My F-15s didn't do the attack. I wonder why. He should be attacking. Maybe I lost sight of him or something like that. Let's try turning on free attack. Let's see if that changes. There he goes. Must have been a thing happened, I imagine. In fact, it's probably maybe easier to go and attack that AWACS. So why don't we attack the AWACS instead? Attack that unit instead. Go. And that AWACS is going to comply by going right towards him. So cancel what you're doing, sir. And go straight towards his F-15s. At maximum speed. It's a bit jerky at the moment. I don't know if you see that, viewers, in the video. It's quite jerky. It's something I haven't managed to get my head around yet, why it's jerky like that, but I'm sure it can be fixed. Missile out. Uh-oh. It was a mistake. We shouldn't have shot at him. He's actually a friendly. So, wrong application. F-15. What would I do now? I'll go there. I'll go stop. Go back to an idle state. Stop attacking. Hopefully, it will stop attacking, and he has. And this guy, the AWACS, let's see if we can get him to dodge. You. Turn around, go that way, at maximum speed, minimum altitude. Come on, get out of there, sir. Oh dear, I don't think we're going to dodge it, viewers. Well, that is my first kind of general guide to the application without having read the manual yet. I'm sure there's all kinds of little other stuff you can do. What we're going to do now is I'm waiting for my pilots to wake up. Then we're going to go and try our first little battle. We'll do it PvE just to, just to keep it simple, and then we'll look at doing proper PvP ones later.